Long-time lurker, and I've been struggling with my decision here. Some details will be vague for reasons I hope you all have the capacity to understand why. TW. Domestic and intimacy abuse. Long backstory, so bear with me. My 34-year-old male, ex, 33-year-old female, admittedly had a ton of red flags when we started dating. She was my serious first relationship, and I wasn't always very confident or outgoing compared to her, and I will always be kicking myself for practically dancing into the arms or a narcissist. We got married way too young at 24 and 23, and the next several years were spent with her demanding my entire life change at her whims, mood swings, gaslighting when she seemed to be carrying on emotional affairs, isolating me, arguments out of nowhere, nights sleeping on the couch, financial abuse. Her family is very well off, and they foot the bill for the wedding and our house, demeaning comments and general emotional abuse. One other thing was she was always more sexually adventurous and always wanted to try newer and weirder things. I'm a little open-minded, but sometimes had to set firm boundaries with her or shut her down when it got too uncomfortable. This is important for later. Back then, I thought by just dealing with it, I was being strong and protecting our marriage. If I could go back in time, I would kick my younger self's butt. 2 years back, things came to a head. It came out she had been carrying on a full-fledged affair with our neighbor's son, who had only been 18 for around 6 months. We knew this kid since he was 16. At that point, she was freshly 31. I finally pulled my head out my butt, but by that point, it was too late. The coming months absolutely freaking sucked. Got kicked out, her parents left the house to solely her. I never had any impression I was going to have any claim to it, so I saw that coming at least. Lawyer costs financially drained me, and moved in with my parents for the time being, while my ex, her AP, her family, and her AP's family harassed me on the daily for months. My ex tried every dirty trick in the book on her parents' dime with the divorce. Somehow, by the grace of God and my lawyer, I made it out relatively fine. She sent grueling insults with every insult you could think of from a cheating narcissist. Her AP painted me as a crippled old man and had his friends send insulting messages, videos of him and my ex, and whatever they could think of on the daily, and only stopped when I got law enforcement involved. My ex's family never liked me and gladly jumped at the opportunity to mock me. And the AP's family, who obviously saw dollar signs regardless of the greater context, had no problems joining in to score points. This brings me to around 3 weeks ago. By then, 2 years had gone by, with me back on my feet, a year of therapy under my belt, a new job, a new sense of confidence, and recently a new girlfriend. Bit of info, I never left the area. My family only lived a couple of hours away from where my ex and I lived. My job is going too well to risk getting up and leaving for parts unknown. Because I was in the same area, I got little tidbits of info, regardless if I wanted to hear or not. I know the AP's family moved away, he moved in with her, and the world slowly saw less and less of him. To sum it up, I got called by his family to see him in the hospital. I don't know all the details, but basically, roughly over a month ago, my ex's AP went dark. Over a 5-month period, they slowly heard less and less of him, but a month back, they lost contact. Why it took them this long to raise hell is beyond me. But I imagine a family that would allow their son to be groomed for money isn't great at ensuring their son is okay. Police stopped by her house for a wellness check, only for him to answer the door looking like the Walking Dead. The police found him, from what they describe, practically in hell. He had been routinely beaten and sexually abused nonstop for God knows how long. The whole investigation has opened a black hole of craziness. I've asked around for more info and got little tidbits, but not much. It was found that multiple people were involved, and allegedly there are videos of what they were doing to him. They found evidence of God knows how many drugs and substances were being pumped into him. My ex and whoever else was involved are facing longer and longer sentences the more they find out. His family wants me to visit him as he wants to make amends. He wants to apologize, he's broken, he's scarred for life, he's suicidal. Whatever reason they can spew out to bring me to him, they've said it. But why should I be dragged into this shoot? His own family allowed practically sold him. My ex's family seem to actually have had no knowledge of this and are practically scraping their hands clean and throwing her to the wolves. But I have to step back into this. I get he was groomed, I get he was influenced, and I understand some truly awful stuff happened to him. But why should I come back all this and let the people who hurt me know all is forgiven? They've been harassing me about this non-stop now, and even family think I should talk to him. Minor update. I guess posting about this gave me the kick in the butt to communicate with my family. Mainly, it's my parents who are encouraging reaching out. They explained their reasoning to me, and it makes sense where they are coming from. They are simply worried that if I try and ignore them, it will kick off another year-long harassment campaign from them. They saw how messed up I was last time I went through this, and they simply wanted it to end quickly, so I didn't go through the same shoot again. I have assured them there's no way they'll be able to go through with that again, and worst case scenario, I'll change my number again. They understand and have stopped pushing. Final update. I'm gonna bow out of the situation. No dramatic confrontation, no big show to everyone. Just gonna have my lawyer draw up a statement requesting to be left alone and double-check making sure I won't have to be involved in any proceedings in the near future. From the brief chat I had with my lawyer so far, there's no real logical reason for me to be involved unless either side was getting desperate. Regardless, I have pages of documentation from way back showing my concern towards his age, as well as clearly stating I was not involved in what transpired since then. I understand many of you wanted something more dramatic, but that's just how it is. All the loose ends are wrapped up and I'm moving on. Bonus, I won't be deleting the account yet despite what I claimed earlier, just in case something comes up or happens. However, do not expect court updates as that takes a very long time, and I most likely won't have any involvement. I can share a couple theories from people I have heard about what is happening. These are all bits of info passed down by mutuals of mutuals, and have been going through a game of telephone for weeks, so please assume these are either wildly exaggerated or outright BS. AP's family and ex-in-law's family are all prepping to stab each other in the back, as each seem to be holding on to dirt to use against the other, possibly knowledge of the affair going on before 18. X, in retaliation for being abandoned, has knowledge of, and I quote directly from the messenger, tax stuff regarding her parents. It isn't some big thing that would be federal, probably just some money out of their pockets down the line. Her family aren't powerful, just well off. There is no big trafficking ring or larger scale operation going on. It was just 4 or 5 freaks who found each other online that she gathered. This seems more plausible. AP's father is bordering on having to be placed under unalived watch. AP's mother apparently had reservations from the beginning, pretty much got bought off, and is now livid and considering divorce. AP is trying to get his friends for support, and they are bailing. Some of these guys were part of the original harassment campaign way back, and have apparently realized the error of their ways and don't want to step back in. One of his abusers from the group got a knock at the door by the police at home with his wife and kids and ended the life of himself on the spot. This has also been called out as fake by another person, and there is no evidence this happened, but it's still in a gray area, as no one knows the names of who was involved, just the number of people. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, stay away from that dumpster fire, OP. All they want is to make themselves feel better. They didn't care about you then, and they don't care about you now. They are seeking sympathy and support, which they don't deserve after how they treated you. They messed up and now have to deal with the consequences. The last thing you need is them interfering with the life you've rebuilt. Let them know that their choices are their responsibility, not yours, and that you have no interest in being involved with them again. If that doesn't work, suggest that they try not selling their children to hurtful child molesters next time. Not the idiot. Comment 2. Where were they when you needed their help? Instead, they gave you crap, sent friends messages and pictures to bully and berate you. You've managed to get your life back together and don't need this drama. His family should be there to support him, along with the local authorities. It's not your problem or drama, and you're better off staying out of it. Let this family know not to let the door hit them on the way out. Now, for the update. Thanks for sticking around for this update. So, a lot has happened since the last post. The situation took a turn for the worse when my ex decided to skip town. Everyone's in shock, scrambling to figure out what this means for the ongoing investigation and the trial. Her disappearance threw a wrench into everything, and now there's this heavy cloud of uncertainty hanging over us all. The day after she vanished, her parents' house was raided. Turns out they had a hidden safe with stacks of cash and some questionable documents. The kind that makes you think they weren't as clueless about their daughter's activities as they claimed. The police are all over it, and her parents are playing the victim card, saying they had no idea. But the whispers around town suggest they knew more than they're letting on. Meanwhile, my ex's AP is a mess. His family's been reaching out to me nonstop, begging me to visit him. They're desperate, saying he's got nobody else, but I can't help feeling like they're just trying to clean their own slate. They let their son walk into a nightmare for a taste of wealth, and now they want me to help pick up the pieces. My parents, bless them, they're just trying to look out for me. They think if I don't face this head-on, it'll drag me back down. They don't want to see me suffer again, but I've been through enough. I've made it clear to them that I'm not getting involved. I've got my own life to rebuild. Then, as if things couldn't get more twisted, one of the guys involved in the abuse ring was found dead, unalived, they say. The community's in shock, and there's this ripple effect of fear and suspicion. People are starting to look over their shoulders, wondering who else was involved. And the AP's family drama? It's like a soap opera. His dad's on the edge, and his mom's talking divorce. She's furious, saying she was against the relationship from the start, but got silenced by her husband and the promise of money. Now she's out for blood, ready to turn on her own husband to save herself. The AP's friends, the same ones who tormented me, they're scattering like rats. They want nothing to do with this mess anymore. Some of them are even trying to reach out, acting like they're sorry. But I'm not buying it. They showed their true colors when they had the chance. As for my ex, there are rumors that she's holding some serious dirt on her parents. Something about tax stuff that could hit them where it hurts. It's like she's ready to burn every bridge on her way out, no matter who gets caught in the blaze. I've decided to step back from all this chaos. No grand gestures, no confrontations. I've instructed my lawyer to make it clear that I want to be left out of this circus. I've got enough evidence to show I had nothing to do with the horrors that unfolded after our split. I'm done with the drama. I'm moving on, focusing on my own life. I've got a good job, a supportive family, and a new relationship that's built on trust and respect. I'm not letting the past drag me down anymore. Thanks for reading. My family disowned me over a false intimacy attack accusation. So when they begged for forgiveness 22 years later, I denied them the closure. They sought and skipped the funeral to watch my kid's soccer game. Instead, throw away as I just want some quick advice and don't think I'll be using this again. Super long story short of a story that happened 22 years ago. I'm now a 41-year-old male. I'm one of 4 kids growing up in Adelaide, Australia. I have an older brother and 2 younger sisters. A couple of days after my 19th birthday, the daughter, who we considered like family, of a close family friends of ours, accused me of intimacy attack during my birthday party. My family took her side of the story, and I was disowned and kicked out of the family house. I then had to move in with my aunt and her family, who lives in another city, Melbourne, 8 hours away, and had to rebuild my life from the ground up again. Fast forward 22 years later, I went and finished university, met my now wife, and now I have a family of my own with 2 young kids, a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old. My aunt and her husband have been my rock throughout this whole time. They believed in me and even helped me in those early years to get back on my feet. Even today, my family would be going over to their house on a weekly basis for family meals with her family. Fast forward to about 3 weeks ago in late March. My auntie called to tell me to come over as my father and siblings were at their house and they wanted to speak to me. I was reluctant, but my auntie strongly advised I come as I want to hear what they now have to say. When I arrived at auntie's place, and sure enough, there were my old family, siblings and all. They were just so much older now, but it was definitely them. Cut the long story short and give you the gist of it. I asked them what they wanted. My father and siblings spent the next few minutes apologizing and explaining to me that they had just recently found out from the horse's mouth that the intimacy attack accusation was all false. They started crying, begging me for my forgiveness and hoping we could reconnect. When they had their turn to speak, I just calmly told them no and got up to leave. My older brother begged me to stay and try to work this out. He said we were family. When I heard him say this, I just told them all, no, you're not. They're just strangers to me now. My real family were my aunt and her family. Her sons were my siblings. They were my best men/groomsmen at my wedding. I'd even changed my surname to my aunt's husband's surname. When my father heard this, he completely broke down. I didn't care. I thought I would be angry or something along those lines, but I wasn't. I felt nothing for these people. They were just strangers to me now. I didn't even ask about how the truth came out. I didn't want to know. I didn't care. I told them never to contact me again. They're dead to me as I was to them all those years ago. At this point, everyone from my old family just broke down and cried. I know their tears were genuine, but again, I felt nothing for them. After this, I just left. My aunt has been checking in on me over the next few days to encourage me to forgive and forget, but I said I had nothing to forgive as these people were strangers to me. She respected my decision. I know I left out a bunch of things in this story, but I've tried to write this up a couple of times already, and it always turns out too many pages too long. So am I the idiot for not wanting to reconnect with my family? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. They had more than 20 years to make this type of apology. They waited too long. Too bad, so sad. They can go pound sand. I'm sorry you had to deal with this crap. I don't think you need to add more to the story. It is perfectly understandable just how you have it. Not the idiot. Comment 2. Not the idiot. They are not family. They are just people who share DNA. You don't have to forgive or forget. You are neither Jesus nor have dementia. You just have to heal as healthy as possible. Now for the update, thanks for sticking around after the last post. So, 3 weeks ago, my life took another unexpected turn. My aunt, who's been my rock, called me over for a surprise visit from my estranged family. They wanted to apologize for believing a false accusation from years ago. I told them no, I couldn't forgive them. They were strangers now. But just when I thought I had closed that chapter, my world got shaken up again. My 10-year-old started asking questions about my side of the family. Kids at school were doing family trees, and my kid felt left out. My wife and I had a long talk. She's always been supportive, but she thought maybe it was time to at least tell the kids about their other grandparents. Then my job threw a curveball. I got offered a promotion, but it meant moving to Sydney. It was a great opportunity, but it also meant leaving my aunt and her family, who were my support system. My wife was excited, but I was torn. We decided to go for it, thinking a fresh start could be good for us. The move was hectic. New schools for the kids, new job for me, and my wife was trying to transfer her work too. In the middle of all this, my aunt kept gently pushing the idea of reconciliation. She said life's too short for grudges. I wasn't sure I agreed, but I couldn't shake off her words. Then out of nowhere, my older brother showed up in Sydney. He said he couldn't let it go, that our family needed to heal. I was furious. How dare he track me down after I made it clear I wanted nothing to do with them? But he had news. My mother was sick, really sick. She wanted to see me, to apologize in person. I was hit with a wave of emotions I didn't expect. Anger, yes, but also a weird sense of guilt. I didn't want to see her, but the thought of her being ill. My wife saw the conflict in me. She said whatever I decided, she'd be by my side. My kids, overhearing bits and pieces, asked if they could meet their other grandma. It was a mess of feelings and decisions I wasn't ready to make. I agreed to meet my brother for coffee, just to hear him out. He looked older, tired. He talked about the family, how they all regretted what happened. He said my mother's illness was serious, and she might not have much time left. I didn't commit to anything, but I took the information. Back home, my wife and I discussed it. The kids were curious about their other relatives. We decided that maybe it was time to let them know the whole story, but in a way that they could understand. It was tough, but it felt right. A week later, I got a call. My mother had taken a turn for the worse. It was now or never. I was a storm of emotions, but I made a choice. I went to the hospital alone, not sure what I'd say or do. Seeing her there, frail and sorry, it did something to me. I didn't forgive her, not really, but I let her talk. She cried, told me she loved me, that she was sorry for not believing me. I didn't say much. I just listened. When I left the hospital, I felt lighter somehow. Not forgiven, not forgotten, but lighter. I went home to my family, my wife and kids, and I knew that no matter what, they were my future. The next day, my mother passed away. I didn't go to the funeral. That part of my life was over. But I told my kids about her, about the good times before everything went wrong. They seemed to understand. Life in Sydney settled down. The kids made friends, my wife loved her new job, and I was doing well at work. My aunt still called, still part of our lives, even from a distance. And my old family, they respected my wishes and kept their distance, thanks for reading. My bully thought she could assault me and get away with it. But when she pushed me too far, I made sure the whole school saw her secret and watched her world crumble. I am a proofreader who specializes in preparing amateur essays for spoken competition. My job is to change parts of the text that do not make sense when read aloud. Here is the corrected text. Throw away. I am a 16-year-old female living in a small town. There are only 3 schools: an elementary school, a high school for gifted students, and a junior high integrated with a high school. I attend the high school for gifted students. Since I was 12, I have been getting bullied and harassed by a girl named Katie. She has bullied me for everything from wearing glasses to my father's death in a drunk driving incident last year, and even for me reading books. I have been cornered by her in the bathroom, and when I fought back, she went to the principal, and I got in trouble. Even though my mom and I have been reporting the harassment to the school and the district, nothing has been done. The bullying has gotten so bad that I have had dark thoughts. I have tried to convince my mom to let me go to the other school, but she says it's almost an hour away and it's not feasible for me to commute or take the bus at 6 a.m. She has suggested online school, but it wasn't as immersive as I had hoped, so I only did it for half of my 10th grade year. This is my last year of high school and I will graduate in May. 2 weeks ago, I was in the bathroom and Katie came in with her friend. They went into a stall together and Katie started panicking, saying, "What is she going to do?" Her friend suggested to get rid of it after school. When they left the stall, I sneaked and took a picture of her with the pregnancy test. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it, or if I was going to do anything at all. I debated it the whole day at school, and towards the last period, I decided to delete the picture and endure the bullying for the last few months. Then I would never have to see her again. However, when we were leaving, she pushed me into the locker so hard that my face got cut by the broken part sticking out. She was just laughing, which made me really upset. Our schools have this little exposure page on Instagram where people can submit their secrets. I submitted the picture exposing that she is pregnant. I didn't expect it to be posted, but I really hoped it would. A few hours later, it was up. When we got back to school on Monday, it was bad. People were whispering and talking about her behind her back. In class, someone even threw a condom at her and she ran out. All the boys were calling her intimacy lover, intimacy worker, and so on. I heard her boyfriend broke up with her in the lunchroom. She screamed at him and left school for the day. It's been over a week and none of her friends are even talking to her. In the moment, I didn't feel bad. I started to, but when I look at the scar on my cheek and remember the time she put Jell-O on my chair to make it seem like I was on my period, there's just so much stuff that I really don't care. She has been a general nuisance to almost everyone in the school. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the jerk. A good lesson to learn is, if you're going to come after someone else, make absolutely sure your nose is clean. She deserved a taste of her own medicine, and you didn't even do anything to her besides tell the truth. Unlike her, who has been physically and emotionally assaulting you for years. Comment 2. Good for you. Eventually, people get tired of being a bully's victim. Sounds like you went about it the right way and nothing was done. Sounds like it got worse. At least with her gone, she can't bully you. Her boyfriend is the biggest jerk of all, assuming it was his kid. You did nothing wrong. Now for the update. Thanks for all the comments on my last post. So here's what happened next. The week after Katie's secret got out, things took a turn. I thought I'd feel some relief, but instead I felt like I was walking on a tightrope. The school was buzzing, not just about Katie, but about who leaked the photo. And then, out of nowhere, my supposed best friend Emily turned on me. She told everyone I was the one who posted Katie's picture. I couldn't believe it. Emily and I had been friends since kindergarten. She knew everything about me, about the bullying, about how much I've suffered. And she just threw me under the bus like that. I was cornered by some of Katie's friends after school. They were furious, saying I ruined her life. I tried to defend myself, but they weren't having it. I felt so alone. Even some teachers looked at me differently, like I was some kind of monster. My mom said I should just ignore them, that I'm better than this, but it's hard. I can't even focus on my studies anymore. Then, as if things couldn't get worse, my mom lost her job. She worked at the local factory, and they had to make cuts. Now we're worried about money, and she's stressed all the time. She's been looking for work, but in a small town like ours, it's not easy. I feel guilty for adding to her stress with my school problems. A few days later, Katie approached me. I braced myself for a confrontation, but she was calm. She apologized for everything she'd done to me. She said she was going through a lot and took it out on me. I wanted to scream at her, to tell her that an apology doesn't erase years of torment, but I just nodded. Part of me felt sorry for her, but another part of me remembered the scar on my cheek. The school held an assembly about bullying and harassment. They talked about kindness and respect, but it felt hollow. No one mentioned Katie by name, but everyone knew. I sat there, feeling everyone's eyes on me, judging me. After the assembly, the principal pulled me aside. He said he knew I was going through a tough time and offered me counseling. I just nodded again. What else could I do? And then another news. Emily confessed to me in tears that she was the one who actually posted the picture. She said she did it to get back at Katie for something petty from years ago. She begged for my forgiveness, saying she didn't mean to hurt me. I was stunned. I felt betrayed all over again. I told her I needed time to think, but inside I felt like I couldn't trust anyone anymore. The aftermath was messy. Katie's parents got involved, threatening to sue the school for not protecting their daughter's privacy. The school was in panic mode, trying to do damage control. Meanwhile, I was still the one everyone blamed. I heard whispers in the hallways, saw the looks, I felt like I was suffocating. In the midst of all this, I got a letter. I'd been accepted to a summer program for gifted students at a prestigious university. It was a chance to get out of this town, to start fresh. But with my mom's job situation, I didn't know if I could go. She insisted that we'd figure it out, that I shouldn't miss this opportunity. I wanted to believe her, but I was scared. Scared of leaving her alone, scared of starting over, scared of not fitting in somewhere new. As the week ended, I found myself back in the bathroom where it all started. I looked in the mirror and saw the scar on my cheek. It was a reminder of everything I'd been through. I should have felt vindicated, but I didn't. I just felt tired. Tired of the drama, tired of the fighting, tired of this town. I wish I could say I'm ready to leave and never look back, but I'm not. I'm still here, trying to make it through each day. I keep telling myself it's just a few more months until graduation. Just a few more months. Thanks for reading. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.